I prayed, you didn't fix it. Here it is. I release it. Turn it over. I'm through with it. I release it. You must understand that release is important for radical faith. Because as long as you are holding on to the problem, God is not going to touch it.
This is the potter's touch.
Greetings, brothers and sisters. I thank God for you and for the opportunity that He has given you and I to have this exchange, this cross-pollination of ideas and concepts that causes us to become more fruitful. Set aside some time to get into the Word and allow the Word to get into you. You know I've been teaching on faith food, and I hope that you will ingest, digest, and appropriate those things that I'm going to share with you today. Your faith activates the unseen. If you want your hopes and dreams to come true, you got to feed your faith and starve your doubts to death. Now take a look at this. I want you to understand that everything that you're dealing with right now, the issues that you're confronting right now, have everything in the world to do with where you are in your faith walk with God. That doesn't mean that if you're going through trouble, it's a sign you don't have faith. So before you faint and collapse and fall out on the floor, give me just a minute here to work through this. I am saying that it might not be the lack of your faith that got you into it, but it is the strength of your faith that's going to get you out of it. Are you hearing what I'm saying to you? Now, when we begin to look at this particular text, there are several things that I want to pull out of this text without taking up a lot of time to completely exegete the text, because I'm not as interested in the story of Mary and Martha and Lazarus as I am pointing to the exit strategy that brought them out of their crisis was brought about by their faith. So I'm just going to use their story as a backdrop to strengthen your understanding about faith. And I'm going to give you about 5 points or so relative to faith itself, so that you can begin to understand what is necessary for you to be able to come out more than a conqueror through Him that has loved us. Amen. So the very fact that we have so much detail about Mary, Martha, and Lazarus is indicative of the fact that there are certain things that God wants us to know. He does not start the story with Lazarus' sickness. He starts with Lazarus' relationship. Lazarus had a relationship with Jesus before things went wrong. Not only did he have a relationship with Jesus, he had a relationship with Mary and Martha, and they related to each other prior to the crisis. So point number one, I want to talk to you about relationship. I see too many people who are trying to exercise in faith who do not have a relationship with God. The only time they come to God is when they are in dire need and perilous circumstances, and then they look to Him to get them out of the crisis, but they have not built the infrastructure of relationship up under their faith. They are just using God because they're in trouble. I'm always working with people who do business, and they'll ask me questions, and in the process of Q&A, there's always somebody who's got something, an automatic pencil eraser or something that they want me to get behind, and I got this automatic pencil eraser, and I thought that if you and I got together, we could do business, we could market this and go all around the world. I said, oh, wait a minute. My problem with not the eraser is you. I don't even know you. And it scares me that you got this old, and the only person you can look to help you get this going is somebody you just met. Where are all them people who knew you all your life, who trust your character and understand what you're about? People invest in things they can trust. Oh, you got to understand this. You got to understand this. I'm headed somewhere, because some of you are trying to get God to do things for you. You're trying to get a God to move for you that you don't speak to, you don't talk to, you don't worship, you don't serve, you don't live for Him, you don't seek Him. And then in the time of trouble, you show up talking about, do something for me. And if He doesn't do it, you got the nerve to have an attitude. But miracles begin with relationship. And they sent for Jesus, but He didn't come. And Lazarus died. Sometimes, while you're waiting on God, Stuff dies. What do? When you've done everything you knew how to do, and you sent for God to come, and he doesn't seem to know that the eviction notice is for the 7th. And all of a sudden, bad has gotten worse. You go into a stage of release. Release. Release is a stage where you simply let it go. Okay, I've done all I know how to do. It didn't work. I prayed. You didn't fix it. Here it is. I release it. Turn it over. I'm through with it. I release it. You must understand that release is important for radical faith. Because as long as you are holding on to the problem, God is not going to touch it. As long as you think you can handle it, you are not eligible to receive the radical miracle working power of God. You find yourself in a position where you just release it. Turn it over to God. Say, I've done all that I can do. I've run out of money. I've run out of resources. I just release it over to you. And that's what they did with Lazarus. They said, we can't heal him. We can't fix him. We prayed about it. He's gotten worse. We release him. Okay. And when they released him over into the hands of God, they did it by burying him. They buried him. Said, we can't fix him. We buried him. And we got a problem. Whenever you got a problem and you can't fix it, you go into step 3. You roll a stone in front of it. You have to roll a stone in front of it. That's how you manage messes you can't fix. You roll the stone in front of it. You cover it up. Don't y'all look at me like that. Because I know y'all have covered up some stuff in your life too. Roll a stone in front of it. They say, we can't fix it, so we cover it up. And there's many, many things in life that you've done all you know how to do, believed as far as you knew how to believe, and it's still stinking. And when something starts stinking for survival's sake, you have to roll a stone in front of it just so you can go on for survival's sake. Can't leave Lazarus sitting on the couch. Because Lazarus is stinking. I get so tickled at them whenever they got some kind of problem with somebody, the news media, you know, they're always talking about who's a hypocrite. Oh, and he was a hypocrite. And I think so. Everybody in here is a hypocrite about something. I want to look you in the eye when I say it. Everybody, I'm talking about you too. Everybody in here is a hypocrite about something. You got some kind of contradiction in your life. Something in your life you don't want anybody to know about. You're teaching on health and fitness, and every now and then you eat an ice cream cone. I know you do. I know you do. I know you do. Every now and then you slip up. Yeah, you know how you slip. I don't do it till like late at night. I can be holy all day, eating lettuce and boiled chicken and stuff all day. I mean, did good all day. About midnight. I'm telling the facts, baby. One day, Sarita told me, she said, baby, we got mice. I said, mice in this house? She said, yeah. I woke up, it was crumbs everywhere. I said, it was. Y'all better set a trap or something up in here.
Still to come on The Potter's Touch.
Jesus could have literally thought Lazarus out of the grave. Because he said, Father, I know that you hear me. But for the benefit of all of these doubters and all of these haters that don't believe that I can do it, I'm going to call Lazarus out. Lazarus! My mind may be distraught, my body may be racked with pain, my enemies may surround me, but God, I still believe you. If I can have my little prayer time with him in the morning, I don't care what happens that day, I walk out the door armed and dangerous.
For helping us reach others with your gift of any size, you'll receive Radical Faith from the Unbeaten series on CD. Just write us, visit our website, or call 1-800-BISHOP-2. And when your gift is $70 or more, we'll give you all 5 Unbeaten messages on DVD as well.
I know who I am, I know where I am, I know whose I am, and I know when it's all over, I'm going to get the victory.
However, when your gift is $125 or more, we'll also add the book Tree of Life Psalms, offering hope and healing in the Hebrew Scriptures, along with a beautiful faith candle.
This time is not going to be like last time. The fight is on. Mary said, if you would have been here, my brother would not have died. Well, Jesus was used to getting good treatment, you know. But when people are up under crisis and they're up under stress and the stone is rolled in front of them, they have a personality disorder. Martha was hot too. Don't think Martha wasn't hot too. Martha, yeah, that's right, girl, tell him. Read it. That's basically what she said. If you would have been here, my brother would not have died. But point 4, Martha got a revelation. Even now, you got the power to raise him up again. See, that's what I'm talking about, is radical faith that says, yeah, it's bad, and he's stinking, and it's in trouble, and it's a mess, but even... Oh, somebody in here, God wants to give you an even now miracle. You've done everything that you know how to do. You've tried everything and everything's failed, but it's not too late for God even now. Yes! Touch 3 people and tell them, I still believe God. I still believe it. I still believe he's going to do something with my daughter. I still believe God's going to deliver my son. I still believe God's going to save my family. I still believe God. Hallelujah. Where are the radical people in here? Make some noise. Radical, radical, radical. I still believe that even now you have the power to raise him up again. I still believe that the second half of my life is going to be better than the first half of my life. I still believe that the best is yet to come. I still believe that my children are going to become everything God said they were going to become. I still believe that I'm going to be the head and not the tail, above and not beneath. I still woo! My God, I believe you. If you're not going to believe God, why come to church? If all your God can do is stuff that you can conceive, why serve him? I have a God who's able to do exceedingly, abundantly, above all. The challenge of the believer is to take the faith that you got in here and take it to the place out there. Because see, I'm not going out there, but the word I'm giving you, you want to take it to the place where you gave up. Now, let me tell you, that's the hardest thing in the world to do. Because there is a, watch this now. Think. There is a peace in quitting. There's a peace in quitting. And just releasing, I quit, I'm through. You ain't gonna never be nothing, your daddy wasn't nothing, your granddaddy wasn't nothing, you ain't gonna never be nothing, I ain't expecting nothing out of you, you ain't nothing. Now, why do I say that? Because I don't want the pain of expectation. And sometimes it feels good to quit. Then you don't want it no more. So you start saying stuff, that's just how Mary is. No, don't go in there and say nothing to your mama because you know how she is. And you have resolved in your mind, things are not going to get any better. That's just how it is. And then you come to church and get one of these good hot messages. And even though you're shouting, the message kind of bother you a little bit. Because you don't want to really put the message on that thing that you got buried. Because you don't want to stir that up again, because you don't want to go through those feelings again. And Jesus is saying, show me where you laid him down. The stone that you rolled over to close it, you got to roll it back for point number 5, restoration. God can't restore it if you're not willing to roll it back and dare to believe again. They rolled the stone back on the stinky stuff. It takes some radical faith to roll the stone away on your issue. But you will never get restoration until you are willing to confront the stinky stuff in your life. So here they are out here to confront the stinky stuff, and they roll the stone away, and by now he stinks. And here comes Jesus. This is what you want. This is a real challenge of radical faith, is to bring the word that you got in here and take it to the place over there where you gave up. And you are the only person who can do that. You must direct this word to the place where you quit. I can't do that for you. I can come to the house. But in order to get to the place, you have to take this word by the hand and put it on the spot where you quit. And that ain't easy. Because you got to uncover that scab and confront that issue and say, I need that word of God. I'm 40 years old, but I need to put that word on something that happened when I was 12. And they brought Jesus down to the spot. And Jesus comes down to the spot. And he walks right over to restoration. Because see, what God wants to do is restore to you the years that the cankerworm, the palmer worm, and the locust ate up. God wants to give you back what life took from you. I came to tell you it's not over yet. God is going to restore what you lost. If you can get the courage to confront the stinky stuff, God is going to give it back to you again. And here comes Jesus down to the tomb. They roll the stone away. And Jesus says, come here, first row. He got all these people with him. Jesus could have literally thought Lazarus out of the grave. Because he said, Father, I know that you hear me. But for the benefit of all of these doubters and all of these haters that don't believe that I can do it, I'm going to call Lazarus out. Lazarus! And they roll the stone away. And Jesus starts calling Lazarus. And there's nothing in the tomb but silence. No noise in the tomb. Jesus doesn't go in the tomb. He doesn't throw oil in the tomb. He don't throw the Torah in the tomb. He just stands outside the mess and calls Lazarus! And they listen. They listen. See, there is a part of faith that when you start moving in faith, you have to have the kind of loud, radical faith that stands up in the face of screaming silence. See, silence screams when you're waiting to hear something and you don't hear any good news at all. And you're out there on a limb and everybody's looking at you and there's a nervous energy in the room and there's a tenacity and everybody's about to laugh. Lazarus! Nobody said nothing. All of a sudden they hear. Mary looked at Martha and said, did you hear something? The Pharisees said, it must have been a rock fell. Sadducees said, well, man, I think I heard something. All of a sudden, they heard something. See, I haven't seen anything, but I heard something. But I'm not walking by sight. I'm walking by faith. And I come to tell the devil, I haven't seen anything yet, but I hear a sound about to raise Lazarus up from the dead. Shout yes! Here comes Lazarus out the tomb. Why are you walking like that, Bishop? His hands was tied, his feet was tied, but he heard a noise calling him, and he said, I'm coming out. I'm tied up, but I'm coming out. That's why I don't stop nobody from coming to church. Because some folk, when they come to Jesus, they may be tied up, but they're coming out. I want the devil to know I hear a noise. Lazarus started working his way out of the tomb. And I don't know who I'm preaching to, but something that you thought you lost, something that you rolled a stone in front of, something that you thought was gone. The Lord sent me here to preach this message to you about radical faith. When you leave here and you go to work and they ask you, what did your pastor preach? Tell them, Bishop preached. What does that mean? Eyes have not seen, ears have not heard, but God's got a blessing coming your way. If you believe it, shout yes! Shout yes! Where are the radical people? Where are the radical people? Where are the radical people? Make some noise! Yes! 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 Hey, I've got more for you in just a moment. My mind may be distraught, my body may be racked with pain, my enemies may surround me, but God has still believe you. If I can have my little prayer time with him in the morning, I don't care what happens that day, I walk out the door armed and dangerous.
For helping us reach others with your gift of any size, you'll receive Radical Faith from the Unbeaten series on CD. Just write us, visit our website, or call 1-800-BISHOP-2. And when your gift is $70 or more, we'll give you all 5 Unbeaten messages on DVD as well.
I know who I am, I know where I am, I know whose I am, and I know when it's all over, I'm going to get the victory.
However, when your gift is $125 or more, we'll also add the book Tree of Life Psalms, offering hope and healing in the Hebrew Scriptures, along with a beautiful faith candle.
This time is not going to be like last time. The fight is on. When will I sleep good at night? When life gets hard and tough and you feel like you're at the breaking point. There's something about being at that point that instead of going under, you go over. When will my marriage have the love back? Your baby is coming. The question is, do you have the strength to back down and deliver? When will I have real peace? God said in times past I winked at it, but I'm not winking at it right now. You got to get right about that, because where I'm getting ready to take you this year, you got to trim your wick so you'll be lit up and ready to go. Cut it back! Cut it out! It's over. When will my smile be real? These are the questions that plague the souls of men in silence. And the answers to those questions, they're in this message. The message is, it's all good. It is all good, even when it don't feel good. Radical faith. I used the rational. I tried to exercise faith. It didn't work. I buried it. Now here comes God trying to get me to believe again what hurt last time. This is what separates the men from the boys. All over this nation, all over this world, there are people going to church today, and they say they are believers. But until you can take what you've been taught and bring it to the place where you gave up, you will never be the radical believer that you need to be for the times in which we live. I'm out of time, but I am on a roll. I want you to get this material. I want you to get this information. I want you to get this level of faith activated and moving in your life so that you can step flat-footed into your destiny. I believe God for change. I stand on his promise for you. And I want you to stand on the word and set yourself in agreement and watch God move supernaturally in your life. I've seen him do it. Not just for me, but for people all around me, standing on the power of it. What is it about you that God wouldn't bless you? I rebuke that spirit of intimidation and insecurity. Stand on the promise of God and watch God work in your life. I'm praying for you. I'll preach to you all day. Take care now. Love you.